Hi, I'm Ned and I make games. This video is from my live stream over on twitch.tv/NedMakesGames, where I'm live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. US Eastern Time. I'd love to see you there. Alright, hey everybody. I hope you've all had a great weekend. Mine has not been too bad. It was the 4th here, so we had some barbecue, saw some friends, so that was nice. But yeah, so let's get right to it. Oh, I did want to thank Nike Footbag for their subscription. They subscribed sometime over the weekend while I was offline, so thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. But so we're working on this. Well, basically, I'm gonna try to remake a Mario Party minigame called Bash and Cash. I always forget to pull it up before the stream starts, so let me do that real quick. But basically, it's a pretty simple minigame. Oh. Okay. Yeah, so it starts off, one character is basically you can only run around, and then the other characters all have hammers. And you try, and the characters with the hammers try to run around and basically smack them to get coins to pop out, and then they can catch all the, or try to collect all the coins, and the one that has the most at the end wins. Hey Skylar, how are you doing? I hope you had a good weekend. Yeah, so far I'm pretty much done, I think, with the character controller in terms of movement anyway. So yeah, I can move around and we have a pretty good jump. I mean, it needs a little bit more tweaking. Hey NTT, how are you doing? I hope you had a great weekend too. Yeah, so it's pretty good. I mean, I think it's still a little floaty, but there's no use spending forever, you know, tweaking this until we actually get a game to play in, because a lot of the settings for this will depend on like how tall the characters are and how big the world area is. So anyway, today I think the next thing we need to do is add another character and figure out how collisions between characters will be handled. So we can add, let's just call this player 1, and then I'll add a player 2. Okay, and this one will not have the input character controller. Well, yeah, I'm gonna need to add multiplayer at some point, so, but for now, oops, we'll just remove this. Remove component. And let's move it a little out of the way. Oh, that's not the transform. Okay, so right now I think the character will just move through it. Yeah, because the character is not in the wall layer, which is the only layer that our collision detecting is trying to look for. Yeah, we actually have a character layer, so probably what I should do is add it to the mask. Okay, actually, before I go any further, I should probably make a prefab. Yeah, and then the player 2 will be the same thing except with this input controller removed. Okay, so now, yeah, now I can't move into it. Because basically just treating it the same as a wall. So what I really want to do, I guess that's okay. I need to look and see how, I wonder, because there's a couple ways you could do it. Either you could push the other character, or when you knock into him, nothing happens like it is now. When you're done with this project, are you going to make a tutorial of this or give the project out to people to play? Probably both. I'll make, well, for the collaboration, I'm supposed to make a video of me playing the game, so we'll do that. And then I'll probably make a tutorial about how to make all the different parts of it. Or at least, I don't know, like a dev log. Some of the stuff is probably going to be too, like, I guess made specifically for this game for it to really be useful as a tutorial. But some things, like maybe the character controller, I could spin off like a whole how to make a 3D character movement. And then, yeah, then I'll probably upload the game to itch.io so anybody can play it. Okay, so if I want, I guess it depends what I want to do. If I want to be able to push other characters, that will be a little bit more difficult because when I'm moving into this character, I'll have to be able to apply a force to it, which we don't really support at the moment. But I feel like that's probably the best way to do it because it's kind of weird if you just like, you know, it stands completely still. Although right now, yeah, when I push into it, I'm sliding along the wall as well. So I guess it just depends how I want to handle it. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Yeah, I'm excited to see all the other entries as well. There's like 40 minigames or something in Mario Party. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of different game development channels that are participating. Okay, so I have this check collisions, which yeah, I hid because this function's kind of messy and it's probably gonna get worse. Because I think when I collide with a character, I should push them instead of sliding along like this. So I kind of need to know if it's a wall or a character when I collide. And then I need to somehow transfer this force to another character collider. Okay, I think... Well, I've been trying to think about how to do this. I think one way that might be nice is if we have like some central class that calls these various update functions instead of just using Unity's update function. That way I can kind of control the order that everything happens. So we could, I don't know, have like check, yeah, ground state, and then for everyone at once. And then everybody would move and then see if there's collisions. And then we could, once we've collected all the collisions that happen this frame, then we can react to them all at once, I think. Might be the best way to do it. Let's see. What do I want to call it? I guess manager. Okay, so yeah, this will just be a mono behavior on some unrelated game object. And we'll just place... Well, for now, I'll just have a list of character engines, I guess. Okay, so on this update method, Let's change this, I guess. So we kind of want to check collisions first. And then we probably won't update the position until the end of the frame. Let's clean up the tabs. Let's do, I don't know, update. I guess that's fine. And that'll basically just call what we've done so far. Except we won't. So we won't set this yet, because the displacement might change depending on any forces that are acted upon us. Sorry if you can hear my dog. He hates loud cars outside, and one just drove by. I'm just trying to think. I guess I should... Do we want to... I guess I can just save it as a state variable, but it feels kind of bad to me that I just save it here if I'm going to... It's not even going to be valid on the next frame. But... I guess let's just make it simple. Okay, so this would be... Check the collisions, and then... Okay, so we can go ahead and do the slide math, but we only want to do it if we've collided with a wall. So to do that, I guess we'll just need to get more information about the collision. Let's see, public. We just have an is wall field. And to that we can just say if the hit game object is in the wall. Oh, is it not going to give me the game object? Okay, well, I mean, I can get it this way, but... Okay, so if it's in the wall tag. Okay, so either way we want to clip this fraction. Okay. And then if hit info is wall. Okay, let's try this. Oh, right. I think it's weird because they were starting off inside of each other. Okay, well, actually no, it's not even working. At all. Oh, that's because I didn't have this character manager. Okay. Let's just call it the control game object, and I'll put various control scripts on it. All right. Wall is not defined. Okay, what did I name the tag then? Right there. Okay, okay, we can just do it the old-fashioned way, I guess. Okay, it's not letting me move still. Let's see. Didn't set this to debug mode. Okay, so input is moving correctly. Here, yeah, we're getting momentum. Oh. Yeah, of course it's not moving because I don't set the position anymore. Okay, well, let's just add this back in for a second to see if it works. Okay, no, it's not working. Because, yeah, I'm not able to slide against the wall anymore. I mean, these are in the... Yeah, they're... Oh. Okay, yeah. It's not set in a tag, it's the layer that's the wall. Okay, so that was the issue. Yeah, so let's do dot layer. Oh, hey, Gowie. How are you doing today? I hope you had a good weekend. Let me see, is there an easy way? We have the wall mask, but I think we have to cache the actual wall layer. Okay, so wall layer equals layer mask get. Or isn't there like a find? Oh yeah, name to layer. Okay, and that should give us the integer form of the layer, so that should work. Thank you. I did have a pretty good weekend. I kind of took Sunday off from all game dev. It's the first time I've done that in a while. So yeah, that was nice. Okay, yeah, so we're able to slide against the wall now, and we shouldn't... So if we collide with the player, we shouldn't slide because I turned it off. Although it is a little weird. Maybe well, we'll see how it works when you can push, but it is a little strange because, like, I'm just barely touching the side and it won't let me move past. It's like some kind of weird stuff going on. I can't reproduce it, but it seemed like I would like move the opposite way that I pressed the input. Maybe it was just my imagination. Anyway, okay, so Let me think. So I guess the first phase of movement will be we're trying to figure out like how we'd ideally want to move. And then we find all collisions. And then we react to the collisions. So maybe I should move this part out and just have it part of the other collision code. Or yeah, when we check for collisions at the end. So yeah. Let's see, find, or I guess calculate movement. And then the next loop will be check for collisions. And then the next loop will, so in this check for collisions, each character will like return a list of collisions that it encounters. And then we'll compile all the collisions and maybe sort them somehow, remove duplicates, and then we'll pass it back into here for it to do its job. Okay. And yeah, I also don't really like saving the displacement right there. That seems like a weird, like, I don't know. I guess it's no different than caching the momentum, but it just feels weird to me because it's only valid like in between those function calls. So I think just to make me feel better, I'm gonna have an array here of movements. And in the start, we'll just instantiate this to be the same size as the character array. Okay, so this calculate movement, I guess, will return the displacement. So yeah, let's get rid of that. And yeah, so we won't set that here. That will be the last phase up here, as we'll set all the characters' positions. Okay, so displacements I equals calculate movement. Oh. Okay, so then the check for collisions, I guess we'll give it like a list of whatever the collision class is. Will be collision description. Okay, and then yeah, we'll put stuff in it. I don't know what yet. I guess we shouldn't create it every frame. That's a lot of garbage. Okay, so I'll just clear it here just to make sure we don't have any bugs. So we'll pass the list of collisions and it will just add to the list. I guess it needs to know its movement. Yeah, I don't know if passing this movements is really that useful, but if we really wanted to get smart or fancy, we could like move all of these state variables into a separate structure. That would be more like data driven, but that seems like a lot of work for a mini game I hope to finish in a month. Okay, so anyway, I guess the next would be resolve collisions. Yeah, so here we'll, I don't know, sort and filter collisions, and then here we'll resolve them, and then at the final loop we'll set the final positions. And I guess resolve collisions will also update the position. Okay, so let's create some placeholder methods. Okay. I guess technically they could be internal, but I'll just make them public. Okay, so this is the displacement in both, and then yeah, collisions is good. Okay, so for the check for collisions, I guess it's basically just this function. Yeah, which don't do there anymore. Okay, so what do I need to change here? So I guess it's still fine to... I feel like we should do this part. Like anything that changes the state, we should probably do in the resolve collisions. So yeah, here we would just see if we collide with something and then add it to the collision list. Okay, so just so I can freely edit this function without worrying about deleting important code, I'm just going to copy it and comment that out. Okay, so here... Okay, the thing is that if we change our position again, we could collide again, but I guess with the second collision, we don't... Yeah, we just won't send any events. That's a good point. So if we have a second collision like that, should I allow... Like, should I put this in a super loop? I don't know. I don't think so. But if we do collide on the slide part, say because of the sliding movement we did collide with an item, then theoretically you could miss collecting that item at this because you hit it during the slide movement if we don't react to it. So I guess we kind of need to keep looping until the collision list is clear. Except for certain things like the floor. But I guess that's fine because if we collide with the floor, it's not going to spawn anything else. But couldn't I could get like an infinite loop. Because... I guess I'll have to be really careful. Because I already, yeah, because of the slide movement, if I collide with something else, I don't slide again. So I guess on the second loop, we'll just have to, like, I don't know, disallow anything else. Okay. I feel like like I said before, I have a tendency to like overthink and overcomplicate things. So I feel like that's kind of happening right now, but let's just make it so, I mean, could it ever, well, let's make it so there's 2 loops, I guess. Um, the other thing, of course, is that we... Okay, I see. What I was gonna say is, like, on the second loop, we would have to, like, update this displacement because we find, like, the different... Because we use, like, the remainder of the displacement to slide along the wall. Hmm. Trying to think about the best way to do it, I guess. Okay, so I guess we call resolve collisions, and this would give us the movement that it can move, but it could maybe try to move with the rest of its displacement. I guess another thing we could do... Well, that wouldn't really help. I was going to say that we can, like, the collider or the character could say that it wanted to try to move along the wall when it sends back this collision object. But, I mean, we still have to take care of subsequent collisions, so... Okay. Yeah, this is why physics engines are very complicated. Because I bet Unity probably does this as well, but they just send an event immediately when you collide. But I always feel like Unity's collisions, well, for one, they won't work because we're all using raycasts. But yeah, it also won't work with, like, our hammer if we do a, what's it called? Like a hitbox or something, because you have to... Well, anyway, when I was working the 2D collisions anyway, if you just spawn a hitbox on top of something, it doesn't, like, give you a collision event. So, okay, well, let's just go with it, I guess. I'll do, so what I need to do to recreate this. So we would just say that we collide with the wall, and then I guess when we resolve the collision, we would maybe say that we still have leftover movement. And, yeah, I guess we'd say we still have leftover movement. How do I even... Because right now we just output the actual displacement we want to move, but we don't give, like, any... indication that we still want to try to move the rest of our velocity. But I mean, one way I could do it is the character, so we calculate the movement and then we just, I guess I was gonna say we could say, like, a command instead of, like, giving movements. We'd say, like, move so and so and then slide along the wall, but that's really no different because all the characters move like that. And I don't really want this character manager to control how each character moves, just, like, synchronizes between them. Okay, I think let's do... So we have... Alright, let's make another structure here. And this will be character movement. And so, I don't know, we'll have 3, okay. Yeah, so this will be like the amount of movement that we would like to move, and this is a movement that we've like validated against all collisions that's possible. So we'll keep updating that, and then we'll probably just do like, I don't know, a for loop here. And probably what I'll do is on higher iterations, I'll filter out any sort of collision that could like do an infinite loop. So probably collisions between characters will only happen on the first loop. I mean, we could also just do something that we only allow 2 loops as well, but okay, let's try that. So for int okay, we can't use I. Yeah, so this, I mean, do I really need, I don't know if I need this structure actually, because we can kind of just give the rest of the displacement into these functions while we keep track of like the total. So wanted movement and I guess validated movements. Oops. Yeah, and so we'll set that to 0. Okay, so here we check for collisions. And then we send, so float 3. I don't know. How can I need to somehow be able to subtract this from the wanted movement, which I don't know. I mean, I guess I could just subtract, but that would kind of imply that this resolve collisions is always linear, which might not be true. So probably, I can't do this simply. I'll need to pass the collisions and okay, actually no, it shouldn't. This doesn't really need access to this. It will just return. But yeah, so it might change the wanted movement. And I guess just for consistency, I'll have them in the same order. Although check collisions shouldn't ever change the value, so. Okay. So yeah, for now we only loop 2 times, so any collisions that happen after the second iteration just won't even happen. Okay, so I think this will be good. So yeah, I need to rearrange these arguments. Okay, so here, Alright, so if we hit a wall, then we'll want to create like a wall collision. So collisions, add new, so we'll need a type. Okay. So with nothing for 0, so we'll have wall and character, and I guess we'll have floor collisions as well. Oh, yeah, I need to actually add a field here. Oh. Okay, and then I'll need the normal and whatever else we end up needing to get. Okay, yeah, we'll probably need the fraction as well, so I'm going to go ahead and move that. And that's the fraction along the movement vector that the collision happened. Okay, so the rest of this code won't happen right now. Okay, otherwise we're hitting a character. Okay, so I'm not, yeah, actually won't really worry about that right now because we're gonna have to figure out how to push the other character along. Okay, and then for Y, this will be pretty simple as well. We don't need the normal for that one. Okay, so on this resolve collisions, we will basically loop through this collision. Oh, no, I'm going to want to delete that. We'll loop through the collision list. Okay, also, yeah, the collision should have like a tag probably for the source character. And then, yeah, if we'll have a hit character as well, but okay, so in that case, we need to have some way to get the character ID. Which I guess is fine in here. This component is starting to get a bit like bloated, but I don't know. Would it really be I don't think it'd be that useful just to have like a separate component just for the character ID. Although maybe we do because maybe other systems might start needing to grab this, so I don't know. In the future we might move that away, but I'll leave it there for now. So anyway, character ID. Okay. So yeah, if collision dot source character is our character. Okay, then we'll want to switch between the type. Okay, so right now we'll just deal with the wall, and I think in order to keep this cleaner, let's oh no, I can't return though. Okay, so float 3. Alright, so this is the target displacement. And then the actual displacement will be here. Okay, so this will be displacement plus equals, I guess, handle wall collision. Okay, and then we can move this code. Okay, so the kind of interesting thing is also, yeah, this fraction is along the xz displacement, but I guess we knew that, so I don't think there'll be any bugs. Am I gonna have, yeah, I guess I'll have to calculate all that again. Maybe, I mean, I could just store it in the collision description, but I guess, I don't know, that's not a problem really. You really better get some rest. All right, Gowie, thanks for coming by for a bit, and have a good night. You too, Gowie. I'll be here again Wednesday. All right. I mean, I guess I'm just trying to think of the best way and most versatile way to handle this, because I don't really want to have to calculate this move length and move direction again, because that seems kind of open to bugs. But this whole system, yeah, it's starting to get kind of complicated. So what could happen if we cached this? I guess the only thing is that if this displacement or if this vector here doesn't match this actual displacement, but what we'd have to do is if something happens that would make us this displacement not match, then I guess we would just have to like disregard this collision. So say like if we got hit by a hammer and then we couldn't move this frame, so we would just check for hammer collisions first, and if it is, then we would just, you know, ignore this wall collision. Although, so this gives us the total movement. So like if there's no collisions, then the validated movement is this. Okay. This isn't going to work, actually, is it? Because, or at least the way I currently have it, because say there's no collisions, then there's resolve collisions. Well, I guess then we would just pass through the wanted movement. So I guess this resolve collisions just clips the wanted movement until we find the correct value. Which I guess is fine. So we should sort. Yeah, so we need to kind of handle collisions in a specific order. I mean, we could sort them in the character manager, but again, that kind of makes it need to know more about like the inner workings of the character engine than I want. Although I did have this here, but okay, so yeah, I've kind of gotten sidetracked. So I guess first I should really I need to loop through here and find collisions. I guess this is fine. So we want to see if our character is this and it's a wall collision, then we'll handle that first. So I guess these are like so I guess this is fine. I'm just sorry, I'm trying to walk through how this works. So really okay, so we set this to the target displacement. And yeah, then I think we'll just do 2 references here. Okay, so now if there's no collisions, then we just pass this back, which we want to do. But if there is a wall collision, then we'll clip it and then try to slide along it. And if there's something like a character collision, then we'd move up to the character and then we would try to move it. But I guess that would have happened here. Yeah, then we can't move again unless the character gets pushed correctly. Oh. Okay, well, yeah, I'm thinking too far ahead. Let's, I wonder, like, I'm trying to keep this kind of encapsulated, but I wonder, because, like, some of these things, it's hard to handle, like, how different characters will interact. So I wonder, should I just have, like, one function that handles this for, like, all characters at once? So that way, like, if 2 characters collide and then you want to push one, then I can just move them or check both at the same time. So yeah, instead of like having this engine work on a per character level, we would move it to work for all the characters at once. I don't know if that's making sense, or if that would actually make it much easier, but just trying to think it through. So if I did that, would that really help much? Because basically we would still do this calculate movement, and we would cache like the wanted movement for every character. I guess how we would do it then is they would all move until they collide with something. And then we'd see what they collide with and handle that. And then they would all try to move again with the rest of their movement. So it'd be kind of like, I don't know, ray marching in shaders where you keep on moving a little bit until you until you should do something else, and then you react at that point. But they all would move like in tandem. That might be better. Okay, so if I do that, then we basically, then we do need to expose these state variables, because there'll be some class, like I guess this character manager class or whatever I choose, would first we'd ask the character like how much it wants to move, and then it would check for collisions. And then yeah, if it finds one, then we would just, yeah, so if it finds a collision, then yeah, it would handle that there. Okay. I think, I don't know, that's seems a little better in my head, but so I guess it is kind of a, yeah, data oriented type thing. So we just have, yeah, all the state stuff, and then we would pass it into different managers that would calculate all this information. All right, well, let's try it, I guess. Have you done a bit of data-oriented programming before? Actually, yeah, I have. Which I wasn't, I mean, that's kind of, if I was planning to make a large-scale game, that's probably what I would have ran to first, because I just, sometimes it's easier. But I thought that it might be a little overkill for this, but trying to figure out how to handle all these interaction between objects, I don't think, yeah, this object-oriented approach is much easier, so. So, I mean, basically, the only difference is instead of having the character engine handle stuff for itself and then trying to figure out how the different characters will communicate with each other, we'll just have a bunch of character managers that run, like we'll have one that runs code to find out what a character's movement would be, and then we'll have another one that checks for collisions, and then we'll have another one that handles all those collisions, and then they'll keep track of the rest of the movement and things like that. So yeah, 'cause I think the issue with what I'm doing right now is this class is just too generic, because it doesn't really know how the movement vectors will be affected by collisions, so it's just making it difficult to actually make this class useful, I think. So I hope I'm doing an okay job talking about what's in my head right now. So I'm gonna, let's just comment this out so that there won't be any errors, and we'll work on converting this class into more of a data-oriented type game. So basically, the first thing you need to do is have all the, like, you just need to have something to hold all the data, and then you have other classes which just manipulate the data. So I guess this, I'm going to change, instead of calling it character engine, I'll call it character engine state. But it's pretty much going to be all those instance variables from the character engine class. And yeah, even though we are going to do a more data-oriented type architecture here, I'm not going to use the entities, or Unity's entities for this, because yeah, I think that would be overkill. Plus, it's kind of turned me off because they keep on changing it, and I don't even know if they're really updating it at the moment, but okay, so all this just needs to be public because these classes, or yeah, these fields won't be like there won't be any logic in this class, so obviously there's no point for them to be private. I mean, technically these things could go in like a settings class and then we'd have a separate state, but it's fine this way, I think. This variable name is confusing me, but you can change it later. Okay, so that's taken care of. So now I need to have a manager, maybe one that updates or just checks to see if it's grounded. Then one that checks for jumps, and then one that updates gravity. Although I don't really know if it's useful to have them all be their own class in this case, but we could just put them all in this character manager class. It'd be kind of huge, but I guess if they were all static, then it wouldn't really matter. Okay. So I'll just do character, movement, managers, public static void, character, check, grounded. Oh, yeah, there should be a class. So we'll take a list of character engine states, or I guess this will just be a an array actually, because the number of characters won't change, I don't think. Well, if we do, I mean, I don't think they'll change often anyway. Okay. So I'm just gonna name it C just to keep it short. I guess that's it. And then all it will do is just okay. So I guess actually we'll need to know these. I'll get these colliders. Oh yeah, this needs to be static. Okay, let's actually do that because yeah, it's gonna be an array, so length. Okay, so C dot grounded equals colliders I. Okay, so yeah, basically we're just doing the same thing, but instead of it being in the character engine component, we're going to do it in these outside classes, which doesn't really make a whole bunch of difference right now, but I think it will make a big difference when we handle collisions. At least that's what I'm hoping. Because yeah, for the collisions, instead of running on a per character level, we'll run on a per collision level, which I think will just be easier in general. Okay, these should all be public. Why is it not like that? Oh. Just need to make this public as well. Okay. Alright, so we have grounded. Let's do what runs next? Is it jumping? Yeah, so we update jump. And the good thing is that like these functions, everything that needs to be known about the character is going to be stored in this variable. So like if they need to change the momentum or anything, they don't have to worry about what other functions are going to do. At least that's the idea. Oh yes, I need to know that character control. Which, this is, I mean, I already pretty much made this as a data-oriented component. Oh, yeah, I don't have to do that. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of errors here, but it's almost all that I just need to put the .c at the beginning. Why is it does not exist in the current? But isn't... Yeah, this isn't even in a namespace though. Oh, but it's inside the character engine state. Let's just move it outside. I'm also wondering at this point, I don't know. I was gonna say, like, should I make it so that, like, jumping always being straight up and down is hard-coded? But I guess we can always just update that at some other point. Because technically, I guess some of the jump momentum should go in the direction that you're moving. So we might change that, but I mean, we're kind of in the middle of something right now. So what's this? IntelliCode. Oh, no. They wanted me to do that for some reason. Okay, so far no bugs, or no compile errors anyway. Alright, so the last thing, or actually no, we have gravity and horizontal movement. And I think for this, that's all it needs. I mean, I guess technically this stuff could have stayed how it was, I think, inside the character engine component. But I just feel like if we're going to go data-oriented, might as well go fully data-oriented. Might make it a little easier to update later on. Because really the only thing I needed the data-oriented logic for was collisions, but... Okay, so we just got horizontal movement left. Don't know why it keeps adding a dot at the end right there, but easily fixed. Okay, so this get Excel multiplier I can also just copy in here. Right, and then yeah. Controls I. Oh great, I'm hearing some fireworks. I was hoping people they wouldn't do it while I was streaming, but so I do apologize for that if you guys can hear it. Okay, so we have all this stuff. Then in the character manager, yeah, we just loop through each character. But yeah, now instead of character engine, we actually just have the character engine state. And then I guess we also will have, let's just get rid of, I think we'll still at least need this, but public, or no, not public, private, character collider. So this will be the colliders, and then we'll need the input. What was it called? Oh, it's this character control. I don't think there's an easy one-line call to make these, so I'll just characters count, and then characters count, and then for int. So then we gotta get the collider component off of this. Oh, yeah. Okay. So here, instead of calling calculate movement, we would call the grounded. character jump. Alright, and then we do character gravity and update movement. Okay, one thing I remember, the gravity shouldn't run if the character is grounded, so... Oh wait, no, it shouldn't run if the jump is... or the jump state is rising. Okay. So we've taken care of that, and so now... Okay, what's it complaining about? Cannot convert from... Oh, a list to an array. Yeah, so we'll just change this to an array. I don't... Oh, right, now I have to change this to length. Okay. So yeah, now we've completed all of that. I'm just going to test this again. Okay, well, actually, what does it store? Okay, so it's got the momentum. And actually, I need to set this momentum. Do I set it to 0? I think so. Oh, right, or does it stay? No, it stays over. It stays between frames. Although right here, I'm just setting it. I probably should add it actually, but I don't know if it really. That might be a bug later on. Which that okay? So in that case, I need to set the momentum to 0 at the beginning of the frame. Right? Is that what I did? Oh, no, I just said, yeah, it stays between frames. Okay, so anyway, to test this out, I'm just going to set the characters to their wanted movement. Oh, they're going to fall through the floor, aren't they? So I'll turn off gravity. Oh, yeah. Also, yeah, this doesn't need to be in a loop because they each... Yeah, because there's a loop inside these, so... Okay. So transform dot position equals vector 3 characters I dot momentum times time dot delta time. Oh, and also add that. Okay, so let's see. Hopefully it will still move. There's not going to be any collisions again, but I just want to kind of see if this scheme will work. Oh, right, and I don't have... okay, I'm gonna delete the second player for now. So this character engine, I need to replace it with the character state. But I want to copy my settings over so I don't accidentally get rid of it. So character ID, movement acceleration, 28, 10.1, 7, 64, oops. 0.1, 0.1, 0.25, 16, 8. Okay, yeah, so again, these are like the settings and everything else is kind of the state. You could I could, like if I was working on a full game, I probably would spin this off into like a movement settings component, but I don't know. I think this will be fine. So now I can get rid of this. Probably, it might be a good idea actually to move all these into, or tag all these with like a not serialized. I think I'll do that, actually. So not serialized. That's the right tag, right? Oh, non-serialized. So this just means Unity won't save it, or these values between, or like into the scene data. And since it's just, there's no settings here, it's just state, so that's fine. It actually disappear from there, but I can still see them if I move into debug mode. Oh no, I can't actually. That's kind of a shame. Because I'd like to be able to see them for debugging. So maybe I'll turn those back on, I don't know. Yeah, we can apply all the changes. But anyway, let's see if it works. It's still a bug. Object reference not set. Character collider. There's one right here. Oh. Oh yeah, they got removed because I took away the character engine off of them. Joined late and wasn't here last stream. What minigame is being remade? Oh, hi Thoth. No problem. It's this is called Bash and Cash. I can show you it. Yeah, it's basically just one character runs around and the other characters try to hit them with a hammer. And so when you hit the character, some money bags will fly out and the other players can try to catch them, and whoever has the most gold at the end wins. So I'm going to try to recreate it kind of faithfully, but then I'll have a separate mode which will have, I don't know, I'll put my own spin on it because this minigame is kind of simple, but brings back memories. Yeah, I think it'll be fun to remake. Actually, like, I kind of let everybody else choose before picking myself, so I was kind of stuck with it, but I don't know. I think it'll be fun. I've wanted to make a 3D character controller for a while anyway, so. But anyway, so right now, yeah, I was trying to figure out how to do collisions between characters, and it was starting to get really complicated, so I've kind of switched to a data-oriented type of setup so that I can have collisions that affect more than one character. They'll just make the logic easier. So I'm going to also turn off jumping because we saw it was floating. I'm not sure why that was happening, but I mostly just want to check, yeah, that horizontal movement works fine, which it does. Again, yeah, well, there's no gravity, and also we can move through walls again, but we'll fix that. Okay, so now let's handle collisions before I move on anymore. You wanted to catch this stream at some point because you were interested in the potential process. You've been considering the idea for a while to remake the Pokeathon games from Pokemon Heart Gold in the style of Mario Party. Oh, that would be really fun. Yeah, I have good memories of those. Well, I do. I upload all of my streams onto my archive channel on YouTube. It's just Ned Makes Games 2. So, yeah, if you do want to catch up, they all are up there. Okay, so yeah, so let's do collisions. So I guess we'll have a controller that checks for collisions. Okay, so do we want to... I don't want to get stuck here again. So I think we will do, you know, like a... I don't know, it's not... I mean, it's kind of the same, but like a ray marching technique. So every character will move as far as it can, and then when it collides with something, we'll see what it's collided with and handle that, and then it will try to move again after that. Okay, and so we know that the amount it wants to move is just this momentum times delta time. Okay, so that will change because we'll have to take like the fraction of this that's left over when we do like a partial movement. So how should I just, I guess I can just store that. Here. So it'd be something like movement fraction. And then do I want to... Let's... So most things, they need to work with a movement direction and then a length. But, so I was going to say maybe we can just store that here, but... Okay, I think I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's just start here. Okay, so character... I'm tempted to call it Ray Marcher, but I don't think that's not really how Ray Marching works, but... Collision handler. Or let's call it character collisions. And then we'll have a bunch of different classes in here. So, static class, character, okay, so first off, we'll want to try to move each character until it collides. And then we'll store that collision. And once every character has moved, yeah, then we'll process them. So the only complication, I guess, would be like if two characters were moving towards each other and they both collided. Well then, yeah, so then we want to collapse that collision into one and like process it at once. Well, basically any collision between two characters we'll want to process at once because both those characters will have to move. That's my idea anyway, but let's only worry about walls for now. I think, yeah, we need to get back to where we were before I did all this refactoring. Static void march. Some characters. So I guess that's it. So we want, so this march needs to take, I guess it needs to know like how far a character wants to move. So it's like the, So how did I'm trying to see, like, is there any time when the momentum and then the movement direction would be decoupled? And I guess that would happen, well, actually, no, it's just that this fraction would change, I think. Let me look at the old character engine. So when we did the slide, okay, so I did change the momentum, so I see. So here we did the slide movement, which is, yeah, the rest of the movement is the movement direction times like wasn't part of the collision. And then we subtract out the part of the movement that went inside of the wall, which we can find with the dot product. And so, yeah, we can do that. Same thing with the momentum. So the momentum and the slide movement are in the same direction as far, I think. They should be anyway. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is that the momentum direction is always the same as the movement direction, which makes sense. Okay, so I guess we can have a movement fraction and then public float movement. This is like, I guess technically it's a time, but so yeah, we multiply this by the momentum to give us the amount that will move this frame. And then, like, if we have a partial movement, then we'll multiply that with it again. So float 3. Okay, let's actually, I'm going to make this a whole nother function to march for just a single character engine. Okay, so float 3 movement equals c dot momentum times c dot movement time, and then times the fraction, which will be 1 at this point, but okay. What's it not like about that? Operator cannot be applied to float 3 and boolean. Oh, yeah, I don't know why that was a boolean type. Okay, here's a I'm used to doing this because of shaders, but you can shave off a few operations if you do this, because it will multiply 2 floats together and then multiply that with the 3 floats in the vector instead of multiplying with the 3 floats in the vector and then multiplying 3 again. But I don't know, it probably doesn't really matter. It's just a habit. Anyway, so we have the movement, and so we're going to want to move until we collide. So for collisions, we'll still use our character collider for now. I don't know if I want to change this, but yeah, because this technically isn't data oriented, but using a combination can be nice. So if collider dot where is it? Cast? Oh, this is alright, it should have just been a single. Okay, so I have these gravity and movement collides. I kind of would like to handle them both at the same time, but I guess see, the problem is that for gravity, like for movement, you have to bring the top and the bottom of the collider up so that they don't like collide with the ground when you're trying to move sideways. And then for gravity, you have to do the same thing, but with the radius so that it doesn't slide up against the wall. So I think we're going to have to handle the X and Z and then the Y direction kind of differently. I think that will only cause a difference. Like, I still think that when we hit somebody, then I'll want to kind of do like a ballistic trajectory. So in that case, we kind of want them to be the same, but maybe we'll still break it apart into components. I don't know. Anyway, that's only... Well, I'm going to have to worry about gravity in just a second, but... I guess we can just do 2 casts here. It's not that big of a deal. So, anyway, so we have the movement. Oh, that was the wrong one. Okay, so the direction is... Oh, we gotta get it. So XZ. And then the raycasts like to work with it as a direction and a length. So okay, although I just realized so the fraction from this is going to give us only the fraction of the movement in the X and Z plane. So that means that this movement fraction won't be correct. Okay, so I'm just gonna... I think we just need to separate... I don't know. I was gonna say I think we just need to separate movement on the Y direction and then on the X and Z plane. But that will... It's just going to make it not seem as natural because the... Well, I mean, I have to be really careful, but because the Y plane will have like separate momentum, or the Y direction. I guess we kind of already do that, but... So how could I mean, if I didn't want to do that, then I'd somehow... We'd have to... I don't know, I keep on thinking this might have to happen, but if I didn't want to do that, then I'd have to be able to make a raycast that would work in all directions. Which I guess would just mean I would shrink in the collider on all sides, but then just not let the collider move past those. So let me see. So like, I think you can still do it. So like I said, I want to try to combine these 2 raycasts. So we would want to move the top and bottom points up, and then also the radius, constrict it. But then I also want to make sure that the collider never, like, we don't want it to get inside of the wall by moving past the radius. But I think that should... I mean, I think we can prevent that. So we already have this offset length, but that's the offset. Yeah, so maybe I've kind of made this too complicated because I think we can combine all of these into one thing. So we just... Okay. So if I move in the So if I constrict the radius, let me see, how does this work? So if I change the radius of this collider, does it also change like the, like, will it move this point up? Let's see. Okay, no, it only, well, it kind of does, but only when you bring the radius above 1. When it's less than 1, it's always, the height always touches, or it always touches the top and bottom of the collider. Okay, well, that's good to know. So yeah, I don't think the radius will ever get more than 1. So okay, so we'll keep that in mind. So let's say if we wanted to inset this by like 0.1, then we change the radius to 0.3 because it is that right? So if we want it to be by 0.1 on all sides, then I think that is right. Okay, well, it's hard to tell because those lines. Okay, if we, yeah, so if we're right on the plane, maybe we can tell a little better. Okay, well, yeah, obviously you want to remove 0.1 for both sides, so you subtract, yeah. Okay, sorry, I don't know. Like I always say, it's been a long day, so give me a little leeway on the math. And then, okay, so if we subtract 0.2 from here, it's not, it doesn't look like it's exactly right. Okay. Is that correct? So we had to move the height by double to get an even thing on all sides. Okay, well, I guess the actual number doesn't really matter as long as we know the ratio, because that's what I was trying to figure out. So remove. Okay. So if you remove x from the radius, you need to remove 2x from the height, basically. Okay. So why do I subtract the radius right there? Oh, because I don't even know if that's correct though. Yeah, because I was trying to get the middle of the, like the sphere at the bottom of the, I guess that is right. Although as we saw, yeah, that's not. Okay, no, I guess that is what's going on. Yeah, the center of the sphere is always, yeah, so these lines here are always equal. So I'm just trying to figure out how Unity specifies their capsule. Okay, so basically, yeah, want to do 2 times this. Oh, but okay, so that was like if we take off from the entire height. So since we're dividing the height by 2, we actually just do minus the offset. Okay, and then the radius is the collider dot radius minus the offset. Okay, so technically, I don't really need a separate function for this anymore. Okay, yeah, I don't even have to offset by that anymore. So let's, yeah, because everything is inside of the collider, and that's the only reason why we had this offset length in the first place. Okay, so we have to add this back in because the physics capsule class begins like at the capsule that we're defining, which is inside the actual capsule, but we're passing in the length from the surface of the actual capsule. So we have to add that back in here so we can raycast a little bit longer. And then we subtract out that extra length here. Okay, so I think this is all fine. Kind of annoying to change all this because basically all that testing that we did already is gotta redo it, but sometimes that's just part of it. Okay, so anyway, okay, so all that was so that we could use the same raycast for all three directions. Oh, I guess I still need to get the movement length and stuff. So float, move length. And the move direction is this movement divided by the length. All right, so direction. Oh, missing a parentheses. All right. Okay. We got that. Now, so we want to move until this hit. And then we need to like cache the collision. But so if we don't, okay, so if we don't hit anything, then I would need to update this. So C dot momentum stays, and then the movement fraction goes to 1. Oh wait, goes to 0. And then I guess I can update the transform, or I don't know, should this... Oh, I don't think this function should do that. Yeah, okay. That's another thing. I was gonna say, like, this character, some other collision might stop this character from moving, which is another confusing bit in it. I just thought about. Oh yeah, because what happened? So if two characters move, into the same position, but they didn't collide because this is colliding with the start positions, then yeah, that's an invalid state. So how do I deal with that problem? I guess so the easiest way is if the character just moves immediately. The problem with that is it favors the character that moves first, although I don't know if it really matters that much. I mean, I guess there's always going to be something like that. The only way we could fix it is if we like broke the movement up into several smaller steps and waited and saw like who collided first or something. I mean, I guess we could kind of do that with, well, actually, I don't even know if it would work. Okay, well, let's just leave this and I don't know. I think I have to just draw a line in the sand where I do, move the characters eventually, because although it'd be more fair. Well, I mean, I guess if I really wanted to, I could just keep this fraction really small and then inch them forward, but that's a lot of, seems like a lot of raycasts. And even still, the first character would technically still have some advantage because they would be moving first. So I don't know, but I guess if I want to do that, I can. I mean, the other option would be they move forward, and then we would see that they collide because their capsules would overlap. And then we could move them outward or something. Or stop. Yeah, we'd have to... Well, I think even still, there's like no getting around it, because you could think of confusing things. Like if two characters moved into the same position, but then we moved them backwards so that they go out of colliding, then in the next frame, it'd be possible that some other character had moved behind them, so that when you move one character backwards, they're now overlapping. So then do you move that character backwards, you could have the same thing happen. So yeah, that's... I think how physics engines do it is they just move them, and then if the characters overlap, it gets fixed in the next frame. By just moving them out of each other. I guess we could do that as well. It just depends on how I want to handle it. So in that case, basically on the next frame, we would see if the two characters are overlapping, and if they are, then I don't know, we just apply an offset to them instead of letting them move, I guess. I don't know if that would, how good that would feel or not. Let's... Okay, I haven't even really added anything in here yet, but check if characters overlap at the beginning of the frame. I guess the nice thing about that is it also makes them robust to like bugs, so that if something happens that they somehow get inside one another, they'll fix it automatically. So I do kind of like that, and it also helps it, so it makes it so the first character doesn't really have an advantage. So anyway, if the characters, so the only time this can happen is, again, like if the two characters are outside the position, but then they move into the same position, then they would technically be overlapping, because the collider wouldn't see, they wouldn't see that they're collide. But yeah, so we'll just deal with that on the next frame, I think. Okay. So what do we do here? So if it does collide, I guess I can take my stuff from here. Okay, we would do all this with the slide, but yeah, this is what I was looking for. So I'm only going to deal with walls right now. Okay, so if we do collide, then we set the movement fraction. So I guess we need to register that we want to move up to this position. Okay, so let's do that. Public, float 3, movement. We kind of, I've been kind of also waffling about if I wanted to do that. So let's have something else. We'll set the initial movement. I guess we could just, it's kind of simple, so. Yeah, instead of setting the position, we'll just set characters I dot movement equals that. You know, serializing variables, but what does not serializing do? It just makes it so that Unity doesn't save that variable in the editor. I don't know if it'll work right now because there's so many bugs, but see, they don't show. Excuse me, they don't show up editable here, but they're still on the component. And that's because I'm using them as state variables, so they only like update during runtime, and they don't really need to be saved at edit time. Characters I. So if you want a public variable but not in the editor, yeah, that's exactly right. C dot movement equals, okay, so this movement time we can just set to time dot delta time, and then the fraction is 1 right now, but yeah, so we'll actually set that here. You always make your variables private so you never realize that. Yeah, usually I would too, but I'm kind of using a different method here, I guess, to try to make collisions easier to wrap my head around. We're doing a more data-oriented style. Okay, so we'll cut that out. All right, so C dot movement equals C dot movement. So I gotta. So you need to have movement, and then also I need to have failed movement, I guess. This is the movement that's left over after a collision. I guess clipped might be better. And then, yeah, because then we might transform this and do something else with it. Okay, so C dot clipped movement equals 0. Okay, and then in here, okay, so movement fraction 0, C dot clipped movement is 0. Okay, actually, yeah, because I want this March function to work on multiple loops. So like the first time we want to use movement, and the second time we'd want to use clipped movement. So it's better if I just use the same variable for both. So instead of clipped, I'll change this to free movement, I guess. So this movement is what we've, I don't know, maybe March movement would be even better. So this is a movement that the March function has validated. So it's nothing right now. Okay. Yeah, so that's fine. And so now we would move, well, first we'd set the March movement to the movement variable because we validated the whole thing. And then we would set movement to 0 just to say that there's nothing else to do. Okay, so if we hit a wall, then we'll register a collision. We don't have the list here yet. Okay, so need that information. I guess we don't really need the fraction anymore because I'm just going to store it in this movement fraction. But I'll leave it for the moment. So march movement equals the move direction times move length times hit fraction. And then the movement fraction is negative, or 1 minus hit fraction. Okay, and then the rest of the movement, which we might try to move, is move direction times move length times the movement fraction we just calculated. Okay. Actually, so this can go even if it's outside of a wall, because if we collide with a character, it'd be the same thing. Okay, so that's all good. This needs to be past the list of collisions. And then we'll loop through each character. Oh, that's not how I do it. Characters, I, colliders, I, and collisions, I. Okay. Oh, wait, no. We just passed the whole list of collisions. Okay, so now the character manager will... Okay, so... I think it will just call the... character... What's it called? What did I call it? Character... collision... Character mover. I think I'll call it character marcher, actually, because that's kind of the term I'm going with. So we'll take... So I want the single version to be private, actually. So we'll take the list of characters and the colliders and then the list of collisions. And then when that's all done, we'll just clear the list. And then the last thing we do is move the characters based on their finalized position or movement. Okay, so let's see. This should work fine, I think. Character collider does not contain a definition for a check gravity collide. Oh. Yeah, we combine these, so it just... I guess I'll just rename it to check collide. Character collider, same thing. Oh, this is for this old script. I'm just gonna comment the whole page out. We might still need something, so I don't want to delete this function or this file yet. Okay. Oh yeah, let's set the collider back to match the actual object. Or the mesh, anyway. Okay. So first of all, okay, movement still is fine. Okay. Oh, and we collide with the wall. but yeah, we're not sliding because I haven't added that in yet. Let's see. Now, am I... Oh, okay. I was afraid I was inside the wall, but actually it looks like I'm not. Okay, so it seems like it still works fine. I don't know why the raycast is like way larger than it actually is going, I think, but... Or the raycast little indicators. Did I... Maybe I left it. Because I know I had increased the length. Oh yeah, it's times 10, okay. But I think... Oh yeah, I think the reason I did it was because it's just too small otherwise. Okay. Which is probably because my game is running at like 400 frames a second or something, but... Maybe I can... Oh, I don't know. I don't want to worry about clipping the frames at the moment. Okay, so... Well, at least collisions seem to work so far, but we haven't really done anything super fancy yet. So we registered there's a collision. Okay, because this is just marching. So I guess there's going to be another class that checks all the collisions and handles them. Okay, maybe I'll spin this off into a separate file, but for now, let's just keep everything kind of tidy in here. Okay, so what this will do is see this collision. And take this data. And then then it might perturb the movement vector here. Okay, so I guess I need to do a loop. 0i less than... Well, we'll need like some maximum here. I'll just do 4 for now. So we actually won't clear yet. So we... So first we march until they collide. Then we update the position. And then we check... Then we'll check all collisions to see what should happen. Okay, I guess, yeah. Well, for now we won't worry about this, but like I said, like if... There might be some collisions which would prevent a character from moving, so in that case, actually we wouldn't do this, but... Okay, so yeah, actually this goes at the end of the loop. Okay, so... We'll need to have the characters and then also a list of collisions. But we won't run once for each character, because that was the trouble we got into with our old scheme. So we'll actually run once per collision. Yeah, and we can probably optimize this a whole lot. But for now, I'm just going to loop through each collision, and if collision dot type is a wall collision and collision dot okay, I guess that's it, yeah. Then we'll say handle collision then characters collision dot source character. Okay, so now we'll finally add back in that slide logic we did before. Except we won't actually move the character yet. We'll just like adjust some of this. So in that case, let me see. So I guess the march movement should be set to 0. Where am I? Yeah, here. So we should set the character's march movement to 0. Yeah, I think that's fine. Because, yeah, we've moved this, so anything else that we change here is going to happen in the next loop. Okay, so let's look back in this old class. See if we can clean up this code. Okay, so I already know the rest of the movement because that's float 3 rest of movement equals z dot movement. I guess I don't really need that fraction value anymore actually, but so the normal we can get from the collision. The into the wall is the normal times the dot product times the rest of the movement length. So that's the okay. Alright, so I guess I do need to know the movement direction and the rest of the movement. And the length, I mean. So move length equals math.length. And then float 3 move direction is I guess I don't really need that rest of movement variable. Okay, so yeah, this dot product gives us the so it's the cosine of the angle between the normal vector and the move direction. Oh. So if we take this collision times the movement length times the wall dot, that gives us the amount of movement inside the wall, and then we can subtract that from this movement vector to give us the movement out of the wall, which is the slide movement, so that's what we'd set the movement to. And then I guess we'd see if we hit another. Okay, no, we wouldn't do anything else because the next part, so we just set this movement and then it runs back through the march. So it tries to march again. I guess. So the only other thing is I need to update the momentum to match this. So I can do the same thing here. So I got the into the wall dimension. Let's change this to like, I don't know. Into wall length. Oh wait, no, that's not right. I'm trying to think of the cleanest way to do this. And then basically we do the same thing for the momentum. Okay, so I guess technically we could save a little bit if I multiplied the normal and the dot there, but okay. So I guess one thing we want to do is we might want to have like the iteration number, because maybe if at a certain point, like if we hit another wall because of the slide, we'll probably just want to stop, because at that point well, I'll probably just set this to 0 anyway. Well, I guess we could. Oh no, we don't. Okay, I was gonna say we check the collision here, but so I was gonna say here, like maybe if we just hit a wall again and the iteration is past a certain point, then we just don't try to do anything else. But I don't know, maybe we don't need to do that. Let's see what happens if I just go here. Well, nothing will, because I don't call that function yet. So the wall collision handler. Okay, so we march. Then do I do the wall collision first after the movements or before? I guess it doesn't really matter. Okay, I don't want to. I need to change this from march. This should be run. Characters, collisions. Okay, so let's see. Oh, outside the bounds of the array. Oh, right, because this is not for each character. This is for each iteration. So, and C equals characters. Oh wait, 0 C less than characters length. Okay. Oh, there it goes. Okay. And we're not getting any infinite loops when I run into the middle of the wall. No, it is. Oh, actually, no, it's not really too bad. I was going to say it's kind of wobbling back and forth, but it only happens when I move back and forth. So I think it's okay. Because technically, I think what's happening is it's sliding one way, then sliding to the other. The only thing I don't like is we always iterate 4 times, which I guess, I mean, there's worse problems. But technically, like, if the character's movement fraction is really small, then we don't really need to handle it again. So let's see. Let's have this like return a boolean if it's all done. So if it's all done, then we'll just break. Okay, so bool all done is true, and then each of these will just also return all done. So we'll return, I guess we just return true at this point if it doesn't collide with anything. But let's just do it. So if movement, or if c dot movement fraction is less than or equal to some small number, something like that, then we'll just say it's done. Maybe we should actually check here, because like if the movement fraction is really small at this point, then we don't really need to do any more work. So it's really small here, we'll just return, and then we'll just return true here because we didn't hit any walls, and then we return false here because we have a collision. I mean, technically, maybe this is a little bit, because technically if there's no collisions, we would just say that it's done. Although that would, okay, well actually yeah. So if there's no collisions, then we can just exit out. So if collisions count is 0, then we'll return. Or not return, we'll break. But yeah, so actually, yeah, the way I was doing this is wrong because we always have to run this part. Even if there's no collisions, because otherwise, again, if this normal movement won't run, I keep on having to think about that case. Okay. Well, that makes this code a little simpler, so I think it's probably for the best. All right. Okay, still is fine. It still kind of does a little waggling back and forth, but only when I press the keys, so it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so let's add back in jumping, which shouldn't be that big of a deal because basically... Okay, well we do want to handle it a little differently because we don't want to do any slide movement if we're hitting with our feet. So I guess we would do that to see, we would do like a dot product with the normal maybe to see if it's close to the top or the bottom, or yeah, I guess if the dot product if the dot product of the normal and the up vector is within a certain value, then we'll say it's the floor. Okay, so this will be... Does it need to be a different type? Because I could just check the dot product in this part. That might be the easiest thing. So if c dot, oh wait, yeah, the collision dot normal dot. Well, let's see. So we still want to remove the momentum. So yeah, when we touch the ground, it's actually going to be a lot different because we want to zero out the momentum. That is parallel with the normal. So, all right. Well, is that? Well, maybe this code is the same. We just, if it's okay. Well, let's just see what happens. I'm curious to see. I might not need to change anything actually. Okay, so let's add in. What am I trying to do? Oh yeah, I want to add in gravity and jumping again. I guess first let's just check gravity, see if that works. It'll work if we stick to the ground. Okay. That's a bit weird. What's going on there? I don't know if you can see it. Oh, it looks like we're kind of, because we bob up and down a little bit, which I don't like. I think that we're even, yeah, it's even stuck into the ground. Is that, I wonder if that's the collision offset. If I increase the offset, will I fall deeper into the ground? Yes. Okay, so something is wrong with that then. So I wonder, am I even, am I colliding into the wall even? I thought that maybe I am a little bit. Okay. Yeah. So it's not technically the same thing with gravity, it just is easier to tell. Okay, so what am I doing wrong? Because basically this code was supposed to make it so maybe this fraction is, maybe I need to saturate this fraction so it's not positive or it never goes negative. Although technically if it's negative then it would push it out of the wall. So maybe that's good. Well, let's see. What happens if I do this? I don't know. I don't think this is a culprit. I guess I should check to see what happens when I set the value to 0, but... Okay, well that's interesting. When I saturate it, it never moves out. So, I guess moving back up to the correct position is because that's, the negative value is pushing it up. Though technically it never moves to the actual correct position, but... So what happens if I set the offset to 0? Does it... Okay, well then we just fall into the void. Okay, so when it's 0, it does look like it works, right? Maybe not. Okay, so when it's 0, it falls into the ground when I move. Okay, let's turn back off gravity again and see what happens when I just move into the wall with a 0 offset. So if we can get it to work right in the wall, then Should work for gravity. Yeah, so when I have a 0 offset, I guess we should have seen this coming, because this was the problem that I had before. Basically, you get it too close to the... If you don't have an offset, you're too close... Or, sorry. If you have no offset, the collider starts too close to the wall, and so floating point errors can just let you pass through it. So that's why I had to add this offset. So even just a small value keeps you from being able to go through, but it seems like it's letting me clip into the wall a little bit, which is not what I want. I was wondering, are you making your own collision system rather than using Unity's? Well, I'm still using their collision system, but not their physics system. So I'm using their raycast and everything, but I want to have complete control over the jumping mechanics. So in order to do that, I have to rely on raycasting to find collisions. So it looks like maybe I forgot to update something around here. So pass in the radius, top and the bottom point have the offset moved in. Offset length. Yeah, it's called bash and cache. Here I can show you. Yeah, this one. So I'm gonna try to remake it faithfully, and then depending on how much time I have left, I'd like to maybe add some kind of changes to it, just because the minigame itself is rather simple. But because I think once we get this character collider finished, or the character controller finished, that's like well over half of it. So it's gonna have a local multiplayer. I'd like to add online multiplayer, but there's just no way I'd get that done in the time until they're supposed to be finished. Yeah, I think it will be fun. I'm looking forward to moving on to some of the actual gameplay, but we've got to get the start with a strong foundation. All right, so let me think here. I'm just trying to think about what could make it sink in. Okay, well, maybe I shouldn't return true here. Wait, well, no, I guess I always do because if this collision hits, the only thing is I just don't want it to be able to move any closer than this length. So technically, yeah, if fraction is ever excuse me, if fraction is ever negative, then the character engine just shouldn't be able to run that. So maybe the bug is actually here in this code. So we hit the wall, and so save the movement, fraction. Let's print out what values we're getting. Okay, because when this fraction is negative, then the movement fraction here is actually greater than 1. But I don't know, maybe that's what the problem is. Let's see. Oh, okay, I need to set it to have an offset again. You always feel that in game dev, for you at least, as an artist, you'd love to get all the visual stuff as well as the gameplay, but can't do that until you finish the groundwork, so the rest will have something to build on. Yeah, I actually agree a lot because I really hate working with this kind of like gray box stuff. It makes me lose a lot of motivation a lot of times, but streaming actually is a pretty big help to fix that. But yeah, I'm pretty soon. I think I'm gonna start getting some art in once we finish with the character. I bet, or the character movement. Okay, so some of these values are kind of weird. We've got negative. I saw some that were hard to tell. I thought I saw some that were like, yeah, like this is like negative 2.24. So it's saying that we've moved in twice the amount of the movement. But again, my frame rate is really big, so it'd probably be easier to test if I limited that, but let me see. Streaming it sure helps. You have a solo project you've been working on for a while. You're hoping to introduce more members to it soon. At least for you, working on code while you have other people in call watching helps motivation a lot. Yeah, it helps me stay on task. I always, almost after every stream, I always feel like I've got a lot done, which is nice. So it's still doing that weird thing. I think it has something to do with this code. What if I saturate this? Nope, still doing it. So it wasn't like the leftover slide movement that was causing an issue. Okay, what if I saturate this? You have to head out for now, but good luck with the rest of the stream. Catch up with the video logs at some point. Okay, Thoth. Thanks for coming by. I do appreciate it. I hope you have a... Oh, well, I hope you have a good night. Okay, so it's getting like runaway momentum now when I saturated the movement. Thanks, Thoth. Okay, so that's really funny. That only happened when I saturated this hit fraction, and I guess because it's not being pushed out of the colliders anymore. I think the problem is that it's even getting inside the collider in the first place. This is a strange bug. I'm sure it has something to do with the insets because it does, well, it does change actually when I increase this. Yeah, and if it go to 0, then it starts to, or then I can fall through stuff. That's kind of funny. It like you see that it kept dipping until I got to 1/2, and then it started moving up again until I got to 1, and then it fell through. Okay. I feel like it's a little late to do this at the moment. My brain is not able to grasp what's going on, but I can't really do anything else until we fix this bug, I think. So we'll keep on trucking. I think. Okay, so we know that it has something to do with the offset length, because when I change it, well, I don't know. Because when I change it, it does move up and down, but I guess it could also be. Well, technically, when I change it, it shouldn't, like, nothing should change. Like, sorry. When I change the offset length, no matter what it is, this, the collider shouldn't move, because the offset length is kind of just like, an offset to start the raycast, but then well, the idea is that it won't let you get past the offset length anyway, which is why I subtract it from the distance, but seems like there's something that's not correct. Okay. I'm just looking over everything to see if I've like made a typo when I refactored everything. So we take the height, so half the height, and then we subtract the radius and also the offset length. Oh, maybe it should be, yeah, I think actually this might be the problem. So we actually need to calculate the radius that way and then just subtract this. So I think the math was a little incorrect there, maybe. Okay. Well, I think we're kind of on the right track. What happens when I move into the wall? Does that work? Okay, we still dip down. So we dip down to the correct place actually when we move, which is kind of interesting. And we still go through the wall, so it's not completely fixed. Now what happens? Let's make this even more obvious. If I increase that, I should move, yeah, quite a bit into the wall. Like, maybe it's because, yeah, see, I'm moving in all three directions at once, which is probably why it's moving down, but technically it should hit the floor and then slide along the floor. Oh, that is true. That's kind of I don't know if it really matters, but so technically with the slide, well, I guess that's not the issue, because even when we do slide, it's still, I'm trying to say, it's still like, we go inside the wall even if I turn gravity off. Okay, so I turn gravity off, and yeah, we still go inside the wall. Yeah, It still is somehow related to the inset, because when I change the inset, it lets me go farther inside. Okay, so it looks like, so then on our test, it looks like we're at the top and the bottom of the collider. It's kind of hard to tell if it is along the actual collider's edge too, though. Yeah, so this isn't taking the inset at all. So I guess it's actually not correct that that testing was on touching the top and the bottom. Or maybe we got that part right, but not the radius part. Okay, let's make these bigger again. Okay, so it's kind of hard to tell, but I'm trying to see. That's kind of funny that it makes me move up. So that's another bug. Okay, so it looks like it is inside, I guess. Maybe too far. So it is pretty far in there. Is that... maybe that's the problem? Okay. So the radius... so I want to remove this offset from the radius, but on... so all around it, I mean, this should be correct. So this gives us a new radius, but then we also need to offset it, these top and bottom points, which I thought I tested. So if you remove, so if you want to remove 0.1 from the radius, then you need to remove 0.2 from the height. It should be 8. And yeah, then it looks like you've removed an inset all around, which I thought was what I did. So yeah, you just remove 0.1 from the radius and then 0.1 from the top and the bottom. But it doesn't look like that is right. At least, I don't think it is. Okay. And it's not the gravity, because even without gravity turned on, if I turn this up, then I can go through the wall, which isn't right. Yeah, and disregard that walking into the wall gives us an up momentum, which is going to cause an issue later, I'm sure. Although maybe that won't happen when gravity's going, I'm not sure. I think that's probably because it's trying to slide, but since you're moving straight into the wall, it just points you up instead. But is there? Yeah, I'm kind of stuck at a brick wall. Is there something else I can do for the last 10 minutes of the stream? Let's see, what's this? Use compound assignment. Why would I do that? Oh, yeah, we could just do a minus equals, okay. Yeah, so the rest of the game, I mean, it seems to be working good. I'm happy with the sliding and everything, and I think that using this method for collisions will work really nicely, but I'm not sure what is going on with the actual collider itself. So like if I move into the wall, you can kind of clip through it. It's not really a big deal, except when I turn gravity on, we also sink into the floor, which just doesn't look right. And we know that this gets worse if I turn up the inset. And as the inset approaches 0, things start to look better, but then if I leave it on 0, we can move through walls because of the floating point errors that we were having the other day. So if I set it to super, super small. Okay, maybe that's just what I need to do. And just not worry about this bug. It seems like I can't walk through walls anyway. Okay, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't really like that because the bug is still there, lurking under the surface, but you can't really notice it. And we can't walk through walls, so I don't know. Maybe at some point I'll try to fix it. Let me let's investigate the 0 collider offset sinking bug. Okay, so maybe I'll try to look into that some other time. But yeah, I want to move on. So okay, so let's turn back on gravity and see how that looks. Okay, well that's not what I wanted to see. It looks like I don't have a choice but to investigate this further, I guess. So yeah, when I move, yeah. So the problem with the gravity is it seems to just move into the ground, and then once you move a certain distance into the ground, it just flips all the way through. So if I set this back to, yeah, see it moves down, and it looks great when we're in motion. But I don't know what happens when I stop moving. I think this is like a combination of a bunch of things. So it might have something to do with the character collider not working correctly. It might have something to do with some of this math being wrong. But I feel like that's also connected. But so when I move and it works correctly, that would be because, so we move and then we hit the floor and slide along it. So I guess this part corrects some of the weirdness from that, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, I think I've kind of hit a brick wall with this, and we only have like 5 minutes left, so I think I'll just call it for tonight. Maybe I'll try to do this sometime before the next stream, if I can figure it out. It'll probably come to me as I'm in the shower in the morning tomorrow, but we'll see. But anyway, thanks everybody for coming by and watching. I do appreciate it. I've had quite a few viewers tonight, so yeah, thanks again everybody. I'll be live, well, I'm live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 Eastern time, doing various game development stuff. Actually, next stream on Wednesday is going to be a little special because I'm going to be looking at a longtime viewer's game just to kind of look at it, and I don't know what he's going to want to do, but maybe we'll try to improve some of the shaders or just play through it. We'll see how it goes, but it should be pretty fun. And then we'll continue with this on Friday and probably a little bit Wednesday. I don't think that will last all 3 hours, but we'll see. But yeah, I'll put some links in chat if you've enjoyed the stream, so feel free to come hang out with me on Discord or check out my YouTube channel. I have a bunch of game development tutorials on there. Oh, good night, NTT. Have a great night. But yeah, I'll be live on Wednesday, and I hope to see you there. Bye, everybody.